All 7 of these travel tripods are tripods I can recommend depending on your use case. And I've broken it down into 3 different sections. We're gonna have the ultra budget travel tripods. Those are gonna be non-carbon fiber travel tripods. We're gonna have what I call the premium budget travel tripods. Those are gonna be tripods that have carbon fiber construction. And then I'm gonna have some video head travel tripods for people that need a video head in their travel tripod. And full disclosure, all these tripods were sent out to me at no cost to myself, bar the first one, which is the Ulanzi Ultra Budget Travel Tripod. But this is not a paid or sponsored video, and none of the manufacturers had any say in the making of the video. Looking at the first 2 options, these are my 2 ultra budget options, and they are made of metal, they are not carbon fiber, but they are not any more heavy than some of the heaviest carbon fiber tripods in this video. So I don't think weight is a real concern, but they are a little bit taller, so just keep that in mind. When they're folded down, they are not quite as compact. Comparing the 2 to each other, we've got the Ulanzi here, and we have a SmallRig tripod here. I will put some links in the description down below because I can't remember all the goofy model numbers, but we've got the Ulanzi and the SmallRig. The Ulanzi is around $70, but when it's on sale, it's even less, and the SmallRig is around $130, $140 or something like that. They both have very similar design and construction, as you can see. They have a similar maximum height. The biggest difference between these 2 tripods in use is that the Ulanzi has a lot more plastic parts. So it's got this bit is plastic here, where on the SmallRig it's metal. It's got a plastic insert here, where we've got metal here. Even the ball head on the Ulanzi, the ball head itself is metal, but the outside clamp is plastic, and the actual clamp for the tripod plate is plastic as well. Both sets of tripod legs are held in place by these plastic clamps. I have this style clamp on a number of tripods that I've had for some time. One thing I will say is they do not appear to be adjustable in any way, and I assume at some point they will wear out. You see this on the cheaper tripods. The more expensive tripods generally have a metal clamp, and they do have an adjustment so you can adjust the tension on that. In use, the SmallRig does feel a fair bit more premium, and it is a lot nicer to use, but once you've got your camera on top of either of these tripods and they're doing their job, nobody's gonna know how much you paid for one or the other. So if you are on an ultra tight budget, then the Ulanzi is my #1 recommendation. But if you have a little bit more money, this SmallRig kind of bridges the gap between this cheap Ulanzi and the more premium carbon fiber travel tripods we're going to talk about a little bit later in the video. This is the first of the premium budget travel tripods I'm going to talk about, and I've got 4 of those in this section. And this is the lightest, it's the quickest to set up, and it has a set of features that none of the other ones do. It is also the most expensive. And setup is super simple because it is a single turn. So you turn the bottom, you pull it out, and then you lock it in place. And this is much quicker than the clamp or the other systems that I've got. It also has a center column, which not all of the other ones do, particularly the video head tripods. And the tripod head itself has this unique set of features. It's a ball head tripod and a video head tripod all in one. So this kind of makes it not great at either, but it does do both. And if you want to use it as a ball head tripod, you've got this little lever here, and then you've got your ball head function, but you can lock that in place, just lock it level. You can loosen this and you can loosen this, and now you have a video head tripod. The other thing it does is it has a panorama function where you can loosen this and you can turn the top of the tripod plate or the tripod clamp to give you a panorama shot. Once you've got it perfectly level, you will get a panorama, you put it on there, and then you can get the panorama shot. The other thing this thing does as a video head tripod that the other ones don't is it allows you to change the orientation of the clamp. Most video head tripods have the clamp aiming this direction. What that means is if you are using a camera that has an Arca Swiss plate on the bottom of the camera cage, you're gonna put it on there and it's gonna be aiming this direction, which means that you're actually gonna have the handle out to the side and the camera is facing like this, which is not what you want. If you're using that plate, you can just turn this, use the panorama function to turn it in this direction. You can lock it in place, and now you've got the camera pointing the right direction, which is an advantage of this. But I don't think that I love this if you are a full-time video creator and you really need a smooth video head tripod. I think it works as kind of a video head tripod in a pinch, and I wouldn't trust it with bigger cameras because it is quite a small setup. The other unique feature this tripod has is it has one leg that is removable, and then you can screw this into the center column or the tripod head, and now you have a monopod function. So it's got a monopod function as well. The next tripod is the very popular Ulanzi and Coleman Zero Y travel tripod. It essentially has a very similar feature set to the extremely popular but extremely expensive Peak Design travel tripod. And they seem to have taken many of those design features, included it in their tripod, and just made it at less than half the price. I also think this is the tripod that really started the budget true travel tripod movement. And once theirs came out and was so popular, everybody seemed to be following suit. But I don't think when I compare this to any of the new offerings that there are significant advantages over this tripod with most of the new offerings. You've got a metal clamp lock system, you've got carbon fiber legs, you have a 3-position adjustable height or angle on the legs, and you have a center column. The center column uniquely is a triangle shape, which allows the legs to fold closer to that center column. A big advantage of this is the fact that this will easily fit in a water bottle holder in the side of a typical camera bag, and I think that is really what they designed it to be used for. And as far as that form factor this way to fit in a water bottle holder, I think it is the smallest of the group. It has a flip lock for the center column, which works fine. I don't love it. I would probably rather there be a knob there, but the flip lock looks fine. And then it has a unique, what I would call kind of half ball head on the top. It does allow you to go to side and portrait mode. And once again, you've got this flip lock style system. This makes it a little bit hard to do fine adjustments because you adjust it and then you clamp it all the way in, but it works and it does keep the whole thing small, and it does keep it so there's not a whole lot of stuff sticking out like knobs to catch on things when you're sliding it into bags, what have you. It also has a panorama function head, which not all of them have, and it has a little bubble level in the top so you can find out or set your level with the ball head. Once your level, clamp that in, and then you've got your panorama function to turn and shoot your panorama. And while this was the first, what I would call premium but budget travel tripod, I think it is still one of the best. And of course, when you do anything well and people find out there's a market for that product, somebody's going to copy it. And this is the Neewer LT32, and when you look at it, it is a very, very close copy of that Ulanzi Coleman tripod. Everything about it looks so simpler. It's got the same flip lock design. It has the same sort of round carbon fiber legs. There are some small changes between the two, and I will point those out. But in use, if somebody wasn't looking and just handed them this and you handed them Ulanzi, they probably wouldn't know which one they're holding. Now, one of the differences is that this does have a round center column. What that means is when it is folded together, it is bigger around, quite significantly so, than Ulanzi. That means it does not fit in all water bottle holders, and it isn't quite as compact this way, which I think is somewhat of a big deal. It does have one advantage of the Ulanzi, which I like this little knob to adjust the center column. I think the knob is a little bit nicer to use. The ball head is a very similar design to the Ulanzi with the flip lock, and then it can go into the side orientation, just like the Ulanzi. The one that I've been sent is actually got their own, I think, either F38 or proprietary clip release. I'm not sure which one it is, but it is not an Arca Swiss. I'm not sure if this comes in Arca Swiss or not, but I'll put some details below if it does. So I think when I compare this to the Ulanzi, the only reason that I've included this in the video, they are so very similar, is at their normal retail price, this one is a little bit cheaper, but I expect there are times in the future where we might see this go on sale. And if this becomes significantly cheaper than the Ulanzi, I think they are so close that I could actually recommend this one because there's not much in it. And as I said, if you hand it to somebody blindfolded, they probably wouldn't know which one they were holding. The Ulanzi does have that big advantage of being able to easily fit in a water bottle holder, where this one will be a bit borderline in some camera bags. And the final one in the premium budget travel tripods is a carbon fiber tripod. It's another Neewer tripod. It is an LT35. And essentially for me, this bridges the gap between the ultra budget metal offerings and the more premium offerings that we've just covered. It is slightly cheaper, and it does feel slightly cheaper, but it does have some advantages over the other ones as well. To start with, it is a plastic clip lock system, which I may have talked about earlier in the video, which I see no way to adjust once they have been used for a while, I do not know if these will wear out or not. I think it's a possibility, so I do have that concern. They are also plastic, not metal, so they might not last as long in general. The other thing that this tripod has is a center column that is triangular in shape, so the tripod can fold together a little bit more closely and be a little bit smaller, but it's still bigger than what the Ulanzi is. But if we put that up, it also has a knob to adjust the center column. It has adjustable legs similar to the other ones. It has 3 different setting points for the legs. And it has a traditional ball head, which is something I really like. I think if you like traditional ball head tripods, I think you're gonna like this one because this is a full-on standard traditional ball head. It allows you to go to the side, but it is a proper large ball head. This tends to be easier to adjust. It tends to not move as much if you have a big camera on it. So I think if you are on a budget and some of these are stretching you, they're about $100 more than you're willing to spend, I think this actually is a good option. The other thing is it comes with a quick release plate, which you turn this and you can quick release the plate, but you can also use an Arca Swiss in this. So this is both Arca Swiss and quick release that comes with it, which is something that is different than the other ones. It has a couple of screws on the top of it that if you want to use certain Arca Swiss plates, you've got to take those out, but you can use both. So for a budget carbon fiber travel tripod, if you can't afford the other ones, I think this is a good offering. And finally, I've got 2 video head travel tripods. Now, I could have easily have just stuck with this first one. This is one by iFootage. It is incredible. It is honestly one of the best tripods I've ever used, and iFootage doesn't do anything that is really bad. The Ulanzi is a little bit heavier and a little bit bigger, but it does have one key advantage that I think some people will really like. Starting looking at the iFootage, this is probably the smoothest and nicest mini video head that I've ever used. I mean, if you were trying to shoot some cinematic shots or B-roll or want to do some really smooth panning, it is really incredible. I'm surprised at how good it is for the size. The other thing it has is an adjustable bowl, so you can adjust the angle. So you don't have to mess around with the legs. Once you get into the position, you've got a little bubble level on the back. You set that even and you screw that down, and then you know that whatever you're doing, the horizon is going to stay flat. And so this is default my #1 recommendation as a travel video tripod. It's got the metal clamp locks like the other ones. It's got 3 height adjustable on the side. It's very similar to what we've seen in some of the other offerings, but we've got a video head on top, which is very good. Now, I could have easily said that the iFootage is the best video head travel tripod, and that's what you should get. But the Ulanzi that I have does have a couple of advantages over the iFootage, and I just want to point those out in case those are important to you. The first thing is it has an adjustable center column, which if you're trying to fine tune the height of a tripod rather than messing with the legs, that is a big deal for a lot of people, particularly if you're shooting product photography or something on a countertop and you're just trying to fine tune that height. Going back and forth and moving the legs just a little bit here and there is a real pain. So for a lot of people, a center column is really a must. The other thing is, although the iFootage has a very smooth video head, it's also very stiff. So if you've got a situation where you're following something that's fast moving, a car moving or sports or something like that, you're probably going to end up knocking the travel tripod over, the iFootage tripod over, just trying to do that. If you weigh it down with a lot of weight, it's got a hook here, maybe, but I don't think for fast moving action that this is the right one for you. This is more of like a cinematic look, where this one, it's a very light touch, and you're going to get much smoother footage if you've got fast-moving things. So if you need a center column or you need a sort of lighter touch video head, then I would recommend going with the Ulanzi. The other thing about the Ulanzi is it is the heaviest of the whole group, and that is going to make it more stable before you add weight. Both of them have a hook so you can add some weight to hang from the tripod to give you some stability, but right out of the box or right out of the bag, if you don't add any weight, this is going to give you the most stability because it is a little bit heavier. So if you watch this whole video and you still have absolutely no idea which tripod you should buy, here are my recommendations. If your budget is under $100, just get the Ulanzi. It is better than a junk tripod. It is a true travel tripod. It does fold down pretty small. And once you take the photos with the tripod, nobody's gonna know what you paid for the tripod anyways. The SmallRig is basically an upgraded version of that Ulanzi, but at times it can be about twice the price. And so I think it is a good middle ground option, but you might also be better to just buy the Ulanzi and save for one of these more expensive tripods later down the track. The Freewell tripod is by far the most versatile. It is the lightest, it is the easiest and quickest to set up and tear down. It is a pretty incredible tripod, but it really doesn't do anything perfectly well. It's not the best ball head, it's not the best video head, but if size, weight, and speed are important to you, it's my #1 recommendation. If you want my #1 recommendation for a true photography tripod, forget about the video features, then the Ulanzi Coleman & Coleman is my #1 recommendation. If that is outside of your budget and you want something that performs very similar, or if you find it on sale, then the Neewer LT32 is my #1 recommendation. If you want the cheapest carbon fiber tripod in this lineup, which is still a very good tripod, then the LT35 by Neewer is my #1 recommendation. If you want the best performing video tripod in a travel tripod, then I'm recommending the iFootage video head travel tripod. If you need a video head tripod and you need to pan very quickly, or you want to center column, then I'm recommending the Ulanzi Video Go travel tripod. And if you want a tripod for the studio or something that's a bit heavier with a proper video head, I've just thrown a video on screen now. This is a budget version of what is effectively a pro level tripod. And I know a lot of people, particularly YouTubers, absolutely love that tripod.